There is a truth many people overlook, yet it holds the power to transform not only your spirit, but your physical body as well. Most people see the Word of God as something spiritual only, something reserved for church, prayer time, or moments of emotional need, but they fail to realize that it carries tangible power that affects the natural realm. It is not distant from your daily life, and it is not disconnected from your physical condition. It reaches into every part of your being, including your body, and begins to work from the inside out in a way that no natural method can fully accomplish. The Word of God is not just a book filled with good advice or moral teachings. It is alive, full of divine energy, carrying within it the same life that created the heavens and the earth. When that Word enters your heart, it does not remain inactive. It begins to produce results. It begins to move, to shape, and to influence. That same creative power that said, "Let there be light," is contained within every promise, and when it is received by faith, it starts bringing order where there has been disorder, and health where there has been weakness. Many people are quick to separate their spiritual life from their physical condition, as if God is only concerned about one part of them. But the truth is, the provision of God covers the whole person. What affects your spirit will eventually affect your body. What you continually allow into your heart will manifest outwardly. If fear, doubt, and negativity are constantly entering, they begin to take root and influence your physical state. But when the Word of God becomes the dominant voice in your life, it brings with it peace, strength, and life that begins to reflect even in your body. There is a reason the Word is described as life and medicine. Medicine is something you take with the expectation of change. You don't take it just to feel good momentarily. You take it because you expect it to work within you and produce healing. In the same way, the Word must be approached with expectation. It must be received as something that is actively working, not passively sitting in your mind. As you hear it, meditate on it, and speak it, it starts to renew your thinking and push out everything that contradicts it. What many fail to see is that the condition of the body is often influenced by the condition of the heart and mind. When the Word fills your heart, it begins to correct wrong thinking, remove fear, and establish a foundation of faith. That foundation becomes the environment where health can grow. Just as the body can respond negatively to stress and fear, it can also respond positively to peace and faith. And that peace and faith come from consistently feeding on the Word. When you begin to understand this, you no longer treat the Word as something optional or occasional. You begin to see it as essential, as necessary as daily nourishment. You start to recognize that every time you open it, every time you speak it, you are not just performing a religious act. You are allowing divine life to flow into your system, strengthening you in ways that go beyond what you can immediately see or feel. You may have been taught to run first to natural solutions whenever your body feels weak, when symptoms arise, or when discomfort begins to speak loudly. It becomes almost automatic for many people to focus on what they feel, to analyze every sensation, and to let the condition dictate their response. This pattern is deeply rooted, and over time it trains the mind to depend entirely on what is seen and felt. But there is a higher law in operation, a spiritual principle that goes beyond the natural senses, and it operates whether a person understands it fully or not. This higher law is built on the truth that what you continually hear, believe, and speak will eventually shape your reality, including the condition of your body. Words are not empty, they carry direction, they carry agreement. When you consistently agree with weakness, fear, and symptoms, you give those things a place to grow. But when you choose to agree with the Word of God, even in the face of opposing evidence, you begin to activate a different outcome. This is not denial of what you feel. It is choosing a higher authority over what you feel. The Word of God was not given only as a guide for spiritual matters or as comfort during difficult times. It was given as a complete provision for life, including health and strength. Within it are promises that directly address the condition of the body, promises that release life when they are believed and spoken. These promises are not symbolic or distant. They are practical and powerful, designed to be applied daily. But they must be received with intention and acted upon with consistency. Many people acknowledge the truth of the Word, but they do not apply it when it matters most. When pressure comes, when symptoms increase, they revert back to old habits of fear and doubt. This is where the difference is made. The one who chooses to stand on the Word in the middle of pressure is the one who begins to see its power manifested. It is easy to speak faith when everything feels right, but true application happens when circumstances try to challenge what you believe. Your body listens to the dominant voice in your life. If that voice is filled with fear, uncertainty, and constant attention to symptoms, your body responds accordingly. But if that voice is filled with faith, confidence, and alignment with God's promises, your body begins to respond to that as well. There is a continual communication happening between your spirit, your mind, and your body, and the words you speak play a major role in that connection. Developing this way of living requires discipline. It requires making a decision that the Word of God will have the final say, regardless of what appears in the natural. It means training yourself to respond with faith-filled words instead of fear-driven reactions. Over time, this becomes a new pattern, a new way of thinking and speaking that starts to produce different results. As you continue to hear the Word, to meditate on it, and to speak it over your life, it begins to take root in your heart. And once it takes root, it starts producing in a consistent and steady way, influencing not only your inner life, but also the condition of your body in a way that reflects the truth you have chosen. To believe when you take medicine in the natural, you don't approach it casually or inconsistently. You don't take one dose and then forget about it for days while expecting full results. There is a pattern, a discipline, an intentional routine that you follow because you trust the process. You understand that the effectiveness of the medicine is often tied to how consistently it is taken. In the same way, the Word of God must be approached with that same mindset, not as something occasional, but as something essential that you apply daily with purpose. Natural medicine usually comes with clear instructions. It tells you how often to take it, how much to take, and sometimes even how long it will take before you begin to notice a difference. You don't allow your feelings to determine whether you will continue taking it. Even if you don't feel immediate improvement, you keep going because you trust that something is happening beneath the surface. This is the exact attitude that must be developed toward the Word of God. It is not about what you feel in the moment, but about what you know is working within you. Many people approach the Word only when problems arise, treating it more like an emergency solution rather than a daily supply. They wait until symptoms become intense or until discomfort becomes unbearable before they turn their attention to it. But by then, their mind is already filled with fear and doubt, making it harder for the word to take root quickly. Just as preventive care in the natural is more effective than waiting until sickness fully develops, feeding on the Word consistently builds a strong foundation that resists negative conditions before they gain strength. Taking the Word like medicine means giving it a regular place in your life. It means setting aside time to hear it, to speak it, and to meditate on it until it moves from your mind into your heart. It means allowing it to saturate your thoughts throughout the day, not just in brief moments, but in a continual flow. As you do this, it begins to crowd out every other voice that contradicts it. Fear begins to lose its grip. Doubt begins to weaken, and a new confidence starts to rise from within. There is also a process involved. Just as natural medicine enters your system and begins to work internally before any outward change is visible, the Word begins its work in your spirit first. It starts by renewing your thinking, aligning your beliefs, and establishing faith. That inner transformation is what eventually produces outward results. If a person stops taking medicine too soon, they can interrupt the healing process. In the same way, inconsistency with the Word can delay or hinder what is already in motion within you. Consistency creates an environment where the Word can function fully. It is not about intensity for a short period, but about steady, ongoing intake. Day by day, as you continue to take it in, it builds strength within you, it reinforces truth, it establishes a pattern of faith that becomes stronger than any opposing condition. Over time, this consistent intake produces a stability that is not easily shaken by circumstances, because it is rooted in something deeper than what is seen or felt. The problem with many is not that the Word doesn't work. It's that they don't take it seriously enough to allow it to produce results. There is often a casual approach, a lack of consistency, and an expectation for immediate change without sustained input. People may read a few verses, listen briefly, or speak a promise once or twice, and then quickly shift their focus back to symptoms, feelings, or outward conditions. This inconsistency creates a divided flow, where the Word is introduced, but not given enough time or attention to take root deeply. Taking something casually means it never becomes a governing force in your life. It remains on the surface, easily replaced by whatever pressure comes next. When the Word is treated this way, it cannot fully express its power, because it is constantly being overridden by other influences. Fear speaks louder, circumstances appear stronger, and the mind becomes unstable between belief and doubt. The issue is not with the Word's ability, but with the level of attention and value placed on it. When something is truly seen as medicine, it is handled with care and priority. There is a recognition that neglecting it can delay recovery, while consistency can accelerate it. This same mindset must be applied to the Word. It is not just something to agree with mentally, but something to engage with actively. It must be heard repeatedly until it becomes familiar, spoken continually until it becomes natural, and meditated on until it becomes the dominant thought pattern. One of the main reasons people struggle in this area is because they are more aware of their physical condition than they are of the truth of the Word. Symptoms are immediate, tangible, and often demanding attention, The word, on the other hand, requires focus and intentionality. It asks you to look beyond what is seen and to give attention to something that must be believed before it is felt. This is where discipline becomes essential. You must decide which voice will have the greater influence in your life. When the word is given first place, it begins to shape your responses. Instead of reacting to discomfort with fear, you respond with truth. Instead of repeating what your body is saying, you begin to declare what God has said. This shift does not happen instantly, but it develops through repetition and commitment. As you continue, the word starts to settle into your heart in a way that is stable and unshaken by external pressure. There is also a need to guard what enters your mind beyond just taking in the word. If you spend a few moments with the word, but hours dwelling on fear, negative reports, or doubt-filled conversations, you dilute what you are trying to build. The environment of your mind matters. What you listen to, what you watch, and what you repeatedly think about all contribute to the overall condition of your inner life. As the word becomes a consistent part of your daily routine, it begins to establish authority within you. It no longer competes with other voices at the same level because it has been given priority. That authority starts to influence not only your thoughts, but also your words and actions. And as that alignment continues, the results begin to show in a steady and progressive way, reflecting the power of what has been planted and nurtured within your heart.